Vice Principal and IIC President BVC, Mrs. P. Niremati. Speaker for this session, Mr. Samyak Chakraborty. Founder and MD, X Billion Skills Lab, members of IIC, and all my dear August participants. A very good afternoon to one and all, and a hearty welcome for the national level webinar on creating values in the age of valuations, organized by the Bhavan's Institution Innovation Council and in collaboration with the Entrepreneur Development Cell, Bhavan's Vivekananda College. An innovation council is a functional body governance whose role is to remove internal roadblocks so that enterprise innovation could be effectively managed and molded forth from the higher education level itself. And we here at Bhavans are happy to have started this council. May I now invite Mrs. P. Niremati, Bhavan's Institution Innovation Council President and Vice Principal, to please welcome the participants.
Thank you, Sharon. A very good afternoon. Respected Principal Professor Y. Ashok, Mr. Samyak Chakraborty, hello. Mrs. Ashwini, Coordinator for Bhavan's Institution Innovation Council, Mr. Thirmal Rao, Coordinator for ED Cell, faculty members, and all the students who are present here. I extend a very warm welcome to the entire audience for today's webinar on creating value in age of valuations. Such events will motivate students, it will inspire students to take up entrepreneurship as one of the choices for their career. And I appreciate the efforts taken by Mrs. Ashwini and Mr. Thirmal Rao in organizing this function, this webinar. And I wish all the students and the participants all the very best. And I thank Mr. Samyak Chakraborty for having accepted our invitation and being here to address our students and also for going to motivate and inspire them. Thank you. Sharon.
Thank you so much, Niremati ma'am, for your valuable and kind words. May I now invite Professor Y. Ashok, Principal, Bhavan's Vivekananda College, to welcome the speaker and the audience for the session.
Thank you, Sharon. And first of all, let me heartily welcome Mr. Samyak Chakraborty, a young entrepreneur. And I am sure his presence will connect to the students very well, because maybe age, I was surprised when I look at Samyak's profile and also his age. He is one of the youngest entrepreneurs. And I was just going through the profile, very impressive profile in building organizations, in networking. So Samyak ji, first of all, let me heartily thank you on behalf of Bhavan's Vivekananda College for agreeing to be part of this program and addressing the students. And Mrs. Niremati, Vice Principal of the college and Chairman IIC, Ashwini Madam, Coordinator IIC, and other members of IIC, and all faculty members and my dear students. Maybe I will just take 2 minutes. Recently, I read a success story in Inadu of Ram Ki Bandi. I heard about it earlier. Ram Ki Bandi was very popular as a dosa joint at Mojimjahi market, a very small joint beside Karachi bakery. And I didn't go there, but I heard a lot of people, thousands of people every day throng around the bandi for eating dosas there. That means that was that USP of the Ram Ki Bandi. And he was running that joint for quite a few years in the same bandi. So he was a very, very small entrepreneur. Then his son, with all difficulty, he educated his son, who was helping him in the business. And subsequently, his son has done MBA, and now he has created a value to the value which was already existing Ramki Bandi, which was already popular, word to mouth publicity was there. But now it has now become the very popular brands in Hyderabad with 5-6 centers across Hyderabad. And recently I saw in Inadu that their valuation is around 300 crore rupees. I was shocked to know the 300 crore rupees valuation for a small bandi. That's why the theme selected by Ashwini Madam, that creating value in the age of valuations nowadays, for every activity, there is a value. For every business, there is a value. So his son, what he has done is, he added value to already a value which is already there. With his education, with his different outlook, he has established food joints across Hyderabad, and I am sure very soon he will spread across India. So these are the success stories of entrepreneurs which will keep us motivating and which will keep inspiring budding entrepreneurs who want to do something in life. Of course, it's not as easy as we see in the paper. They might have gotten through a lot of struggles, but definitely end of the day, all the struggles are worth every penny. So I am sure Samyak ji will throw a lot of light on more such success stories to be heard by the students, and students should learn from the experiences of all these budding entrepreneurs. Even in this week's Inadu, they gave a very 6-member profile of entrepreneurs who were literally nothing about 10 years ago and who are very, very successful now with their novel ideas, with a different outlook. Though they had struggles in the initial stage of their business life, they are very successful now. So thank you, Samyak ji, once again. And dear students, make the best use of opportunity of presence of Samyak ji for learning from him as to how to become a successful and budding entrepreneur. Thank you, everyone, and hope this session creates a value to the value which is already existing in the form of IAC. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, Principal Sir. Very rightly said by you. Unless and until a value is assigned to a product or our idea, it just remains a commodity or just a thought. In layman terms, if I have to mention, value is referred to as giving something valuable to receive something else that is even more valuable. I might sound a little philosophical in giving this definition here, but I'm sure by the end of the session, we get a practical thought or a view of what I just mentioned. We are pleased to have with us today Mr. Samyak Chakraborty, founder and MD of X Billion Skills Lab. I deem it a privilege to be introducing to you all Mr. Samyak Chakraborty. Mr. Samyak Chakraborty has started his first company at the age of 16, and now he is listed by Forbes as one of Asia's most influential young entrepreneurs. He has formed one of India's largest model UN programs. Mr. Samyak Chakraborty has built India's leading youth marketing and research company, which was acquired by DDB Mudra Group. Mr. Samyak Chakraborty presides over UN's Young Changemakers Conclave, a platform which has hosted speakers like the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, former RBI Governor Dr. Raghuram Rajan, and MP, Member of Parliament Dr. Shashi Tharoor, to engage with 20,000 odd college students over the years. Mr. Samyak Chakraborty is a lead in the Operation Black Dot, a movement which enabled 40,000 college students to cast an informed vote in 2014, and the Green Batti Project, India's largest one-on-one mentoring programs. There is still a lot more to talk about Mr. Samyak Chakraborty, but before I talk more about him, maybe hear Samyak Chakraborty talk to us on how we can create values in this age of valuations. We are once again pleased to have you with us, sir. I now hand over the session to Mr. Samyak Chakraborty.
Thank you so much. It is an absolute privilege to be engaged with your institution and connect with you all, most importantly. I really like the example taken by Principal Sir, which really sets the context of what I'm here to talk about. So friends, I know that typically, when there are sessions on entrepreneurship, usually the narrative or the energy is go build, go do, go create, go innovate, raise money. But I'm here to tell you something probably the opposite. I'm going to tell you, do not build, do not go innovate, do not go start a startup before you question and answer the why of why you want to start that business, why you want to start that startup. We live in a time, friends, when a lot of entrepreneurs today, sadly, start up to exit. It's a hard fact that people read about, you read in the newspaper about a company, a early stage startup that has raised $10 million, or you'll read about a company that a founder in 2 years has sold his company or his stake for $100 million, and everybody gets excited saying, I will also do this. Because we all love money, of course we love money. But friends, there are certain roles in society that bear greater responsibility than a few others. And this is a hard fact. Obviously, there are hierarchy of roles in society, and certain roles have a responsibility towards society. They have the power to influence the direction of society, economy, and quality of people's lives. So as a doctor, as a lawyer, as a teacher, you have immense responsibility for the physical, mental well-being and the intellectual growth and the protection of rights of citizens, doctor, lawyer, teacher. But an entrepreneur is also equally as important in his or her role in society. You create jobs, you build products that are meant to deliver value to your customers. Based on the financial health of your company, you're contributing to tax, you're able to pay back your loans. But if you don't build a sustainable business, you're putting jobs at risk. You're giving poor quality customer value. You may have taken loans that you cannot pay back, which has a cumulative effect, or as a compounding effect on the economy, because if hundreds and thousands of businesses don't pay back their loans, it affects the bank, which affects the central bank, which affects the economy as a whole. Or you may have taken money of investors who have also raised money from pension funds of retired people in developed economies, and you just somehow irresponsibly ran your business, and to tank it, you're tanking somebody else's money, which has its own compounding effects. So as an entrepreneur, you have a deep and huge responsibility on livelihoods, on sustainable socioeconomic growth, on the environment, because you have a choice of building products at the cost of the environment or in alignment with the environment. Now, I'm not here to give a very philosophical sermon. What I am sharing with you today are the reason why businesses have survived, thrived, and grown. Let's take some examples in our country. Tata, Aditya Birla Group, Serum Institute that gave the world the vaccination. These are all companies that were built on values. And those values helped them create real value. And they were not just chasing faulty, lofty valuations. Let me explain to you the difference between value and valuation for your knowledge. Mathematically, the word valuation means the perceived value or the future value of a business today. Value is the present value. Now, there's nothing wrong with the word valuation. All companies in history have put a potential value either to take a loan, to sell their equity, raise money, and so on and so on. But the problem is on the basis of which the valuation is calculated. So typically, a valuation is calculated on, say, the past 3 years order book. And looking at that trend multiplied by 5 or 6x, assuming that the company will grow. So for example, I run a business today. The last 3 years, my average profit has been 10 crore rupees. Now I arrive at a multiple saying, I can achieve 5x growth in the next 3 years. So the value of this business in 3 years will be 50 crore rupees. So it's a 5x multiple. But that 10 crore on the basis of which the valuation was created was real money. It was real profit, real revenue through real customers. And there was an assumption created. But what's happening now, because of largely VC-driven funding models, is it's saying that it doesn't matter what your history is. Either as an entrepreneur, you have the ability to, make a great, powerful pitch to a set of investors who get super excited saying, oh, we spotted the next Mark Zuckerberg or the next Steve Jobs. Just on a deck, I know people who've raised millions of dollars. Or you somehow, say that you somehow did your angel funding and you just collected lots of customers who've not really paid. And in most of the businesses today are technology driven. So you could say that you've collected users who have not really paid, they're not customers, somehow you've acquired them. And now you're creating an assumption that today I have 1 lakh people on my platform. And one day they will spend 100 rupees each. So that makes the value 100 into 1 lakh, which is about a crore. Then we'll put a multiple of 5. So on no basis, you've created a story and raised money. Now, a sad truth is running business is not easy. So what do young entrepreneurs do? They've somehow using their, ability to storytell, think of a bold idea, convince investors to put in the money, but they don't have the wisdom and the maturity to run a business. So what you'll do, you'll hire the best talent, you'll build a fancy office, you'll do great marketing campaigns, because that's easy. But the hard part, which is running a business, creating real profit, that you don't have the wisdom and maturity yet. And that's fine, because you need that. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. A baby did start walking on day 1. There is a process of evolution and growth that we all must go through. And this is not me saying, young people shouldn't start businesses. What I'm saying is young people like you and me, still think I'm young, we should be creating value, real profit, real customers, and not just get excited by this wave right now that you can have a very fancy deck, you can raise money. Because friends, I'm not going to name companies here, but it is becoming fairly evident that valuation-driven companies founded by young entrepreneurs, when they list themselves in the stock market, when there is a true check of financial health, true audit of financial health, it turns out these are all hollow organizations that may not survive. And not only will they not survive, they will take down with them thousands of employees and perhaps lakhs of shareholders. So this is not about what is ideal. This is about how business is done. Do you want to be remembered as a founder who started a company to exit? Or do you want to be remembered as a founder who created a company that transformed hundreds and thousands of lives as employees, as customers, as investors? That's a choice you have to make. And it's not about being morally and ethically correct. It is being wise. Because a business with strong fundamentals will always survive any storm. A business with lofty fundamentals, lofty ideals, just great packaging, great marketing, a great team, so to speak, but a team without strategy, a fancy, suave entrepreneur who doesn't know how to run a business. These things will not survive. These things will not survive. Time and history is evident. Like one example I can take is WeWork. The guy raised billions of dollars spinning a story But in the end, it was just a real estate business, which didn't have much substance. And billions of dollars were lost. Thousands of jobs were lost. Now the question comes, how do you build a business of value? The first and most important thing, which I began by asking, is you need to know your why of starting that business. And that why cannot be, I want to start up because I want to take an exit. I want to build a tech startup because tech is the next big thing. That cannot be your answer. The answer has to come from within. So let me tell you what my why is. I run a company called X Billion Skills Lab, where the idea is to take 21st century soft skills to college students like you. Because I believe that there will be a future not so far away when rote tasks or any tasks which are rote or linear in nature, that are programmable in nature, will be automated, because a robot is any day more efficient than a human. It's a sad truth. But there will be jobs, but those jobs will require social, emotional, and creative intelligence, because that's what sets humans apart from robots yet. And I recognize that there will be a need for colleges and college students for a platform that will train them in the application of these 21st century soft skills in the workplace context. So my why, a strong why, is I see a problem. The problem is unemployability, where I see lakhs of degree holders who just have technical skills becoming professionally irrelevant because hiring criteria of employers are changing. I have a problem with that. And I also spot business opportunity, because when they realize that they need something more, obviously my product is going to create value in their life. So I have a strong why. I have a problem with something. I have a problem that I want to solve. And that problem doesn't have to be a social problem. This, of course, is a kind of like a social entrepreneurial problem. But let's take the example of Dhirubhai Ambani. He had a problem with the cartel, the cotton cartel run by the old Bombay rich elite families. He said, I will bring in polyester at half the cost, and I will be a far better and far more hungrier and far more involved business person. I won't be chilling in clubs like the Vadias, according to him, that time were. So he had a problem, and he wanted to make a lot of money. So he said, I will make money by breaking the cotton cartel and bringing in polyester. Fair enough. But you need to, as an entrepreneur, have a why that connects to you here. In my life of 33 years, I've met, and no exaggeration, 1,000+ entrepreneurs, had meals with them, taken vacations with them. And one thing I have concluded is only those entrepreneurs seem to have some spark in them, who show some promise of doing something real, are those who have a strong sense of purpose behind the business, a strong sense of why. Your why could be as simple as, I want to sell cheaper biscuits. I want to sell cheaper, high quality chocolate biscuits. I'm saying very basic. Or your purpose could be, I want to use technology to make social networking easier. But whatever your why is of starting the business, or whatever the identification of opportunity is, has to connect with you at the most innate level. If you are going to just read, Google top 10 business opportunities, okay, 7 points sounds cool, virtual reality, I'm going to build a VR company. It's not going to work like that. It has to come from within. I'll spend a minute more on this, because this, according to me, is the most important part of building a business of value. Let's take 2 examples that I think most of us would really be inspired by and passionate about. Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. We all know them. Steve Jobs had a very clear sense of purpose. I want to make computing fun, engaging, and a human experience, a more humanized experience for the user. He wanted computers to look beautiful, colorful. People should feel proud of their device. That was his reason. Not, oh, people buy computers, let me sell it. Oh, I want to be the next cool guy. No. Elon Musk, clear sense of purpose. I want to save humanity and send them to Mars. Or with Tesla, I want to ensure that mobility is carbon neutral. That is, I want people to move without polluting. So Tesla. Now, if you look at it, what if, let's flip it. Elon Musk read a book or went on Google or read an article that there is a huge opportunity in driverless cars, but he didn't feel anything about it. He didn't feel anything about it. Would he be able to put in as much time, effort, perseverance, patience? No, because he doesn't feel for it. So before you start your entrepreneurial journey, ask yourself, do I have a why? And part two, it's okay not to start young. It's okay, rather, in fact, better to go join a job, see how a company runs, see the world a bit, meet a few people, form a perspective, and then start. In fact, sometimes young success becomes a burden because if you don't have the foundation of experience, maturity, and wisdom, it can be hard to handle. And you can look at examples of young entrepreneurs raising billions of dollars around you and how they are dealing with things. They're not doing well, actually. So one, to create a business of value, have a why for yourself. Second, you have to think about the problem you are trying to solve for your customer. Are you truly solving a problem or are you making money off their problem? There are two different things. If there's always a problem. You can make the money by solving the problem or make the money by off the problem. So for example, I'm not going to take names, but please try and flow with me. Let's take a tuition class. Many parents today, many middle class parents today, both parents are working and they're not able to give attention to their child. So tuition class as a business actually is a good business because a good tuition class, a good teacher will work with the student to spend time with the student after school when the parents cannot because they both are working, and to ensure that the student learns and scores well in exams and so on. But the subjectivity there is the teacher has to truly teach well, put in the effort, put in the personalization. Versus nowadays, there are these new age online apps that tell the same story to the parent that, look, you guys are always out. You can't pay attention to your child. Please subscribe to my app worth 60,000 rupees. But there is very little attention paid to what the quality of delivery of content is. There's one recorded video consumed by thousands of students. Students also like it because now parents has officially given a mobile phone and an iPad in the hand because it is safer for the child to be at home, not go alone out in tuition class, see their learning app through a laptop or or an iPad. But there is no surety of attention to quality of content. So what this new age app is saying is, I am making money off the problem, that is parents' guilt, that I'm unable to pay enough attention to my child. I don't know how will my child learn more because I can't teach after school because I'm working. But then there's a tuition teacher who says, no, yes, I will take money, but I will ensure that I put in the required effort and time behind your child. So it's a very simple example that is relatable to all our lives about how can you make money by solving a problem or make money off a problem. And this is again not, so it is at the parallel of being ethically correct and being smart, because being smart is only when a customer sees incremental value will they keep coming back. There will be a point when the child who is learning through this app does not end up scoring. The parent will question that, hey, I gave this app, but clearly my child is not performing better. So there will be a point of correction. It's already happening. There's already a lot of critique on various edtech companies happening in the country. So one is being smart about it, that good business means create incremental and real value of your customers. But the ethical part is also important because we live in a society. We coexist. If we are going to grow and thrive at the cost of thousands others. It's not sustainable. It's not how humans were designed. So second point, the first point is your why of starting the business. Second is, are you solving money by, are you earning money by solving a problem or making money off a problem? The third thing, you have to be very, very, very clear about your business fundamentals. A business is a business when by spending 100 rupees, you're able to show, you're able to create wealth above 101, which means profit. If there is a short path to profitability by whereby spending 100 rupees on marketing, on product development, team, whatever, if you're spending 100 rupees, you need to have a clear path to how does it become 101. If there is a very unreal assumption of growth that I will spend 100 because one day I will capture all the customers, I will capture the market, and one day I might earn 175 of it, but I don't know how. That's not a sustainable business. That's a valuation based business. So any business that cannot start making money, that does not have the potential to start making money immediately, and money means revenue. Profitability also can come second. But if you are going to run a business where for 1 year you only have to spend and there is no income that is proportionate to the expenditure, because if by spending 1,000 you're earning 100, it doesn't make sense. You spend 1,000, you earn 900 for the first year is fine, because you know, okay, 900 can become 1,000 and I'll break even, then I'll go profit. But if you spend 1,000 and earn 100 and assume that one day that 900 I will earn, and in fact it will become 9,000 and create this magical story, doesn't make sense. So the third thing is business fundamentals. So before you start a business, your why, what's the problem you're solving, and what is your business model? Does your business model project that your path to revenue is certain? Now you may say, but who knows, business may not work. Is it certain in your mind? Of course, there will be many variables when you start a business. Of course, nothing is guaranteed. But do you have a path? If you have to ask yourself, let me imagine my 3 years. This is how in 3 years I'm going to make money. These are going to be my expenses in 3 years. Now let me see if it makes sense. It has to make sense in your mind. Because if it doesn't make sense in your mind, you might still be able to raise some investment. But if you don't know how you're going to create revenue or profit, it's bad business. Fourth, how to create a business of value in the age of valuations. The fourth point, there are 5 points. The fourth point is, today it has become increasingly important to care about the collateral impact of your business operation. It could be environmental, it could be on humans, it could be on the economy, but you can't think in isolation. The simplest example is, if you are starting a factory, have you paid attention to the environmental norms and the emissions? Because friends, we are increasingly living in a toxic society. Toxic by air, toxic by materialism, toxic by consumerism. And your business needs to play a role in diluting and dissolving that toxicity. So are you creating a product that does not harm the environment? Are you building a product that can benefit the environment or humans? So you have to think about now a factor which nobody used to think about, but now we need to, is the collateral impact on the environment, the economy, human rights, and so on. For example, you know, I travel very frequently, and I meet these taxi drivers, app taxi drivers. Again, I will not name. They are miserable. They are miserable. 8 out of 10 app taxi drivers are miserable. They don't get money on time. They are overworked. They're underpaid. Petrol prices are rising, but their fees are not rising, etc., etc. So the humans who are the legs and the hands of these businesses are feeling violated. Now, when that happens, imagine how they would be treating the people around them. So you are spreading toxicity, because a man or a woman in distress is not going to spread joy or happiness, is going to spread the distress. So imagine a app taxi driver had a bad day, will go and have a couple of drinks, will go home and create a nonsense. Maybe his son or daughter is preparing for the exam and is unable to now focus because dad is in this state. Wife is another story. So you are creating collateral impact, creating collateral damage. Now one would say, who thinks about all that? But we need to, or the world will collapse as it already is. So again, this is not being morally superior. It is being strategic for myself, my family, my community, and my country. So you have to weigh the collateral impact of the business that you are building. And fifth, to create a business of real value in the age of valuations, your team. Can you create an environment or a working culture where people want to not leave? People want to work with you. They want to grow with your business. They think of their business as your own. They think of your customers as their God. Today, most companies, most startups see about 120% attrition, at least at the tier 2, tier 3 levels, or sorry, level 2 and level 3. Those businesses also collapse. I know for a fact, I'm on many entrepreneur communities. During the first wave of COVID, where there was no strong culture in a startup, where it was just money and show and like, let's go build $1 billion business dream, but there was no real camaraderie between the people. Those businesses collapsed because now you are suddenly working remotely. Now imagine a person who's not really involved, who's not really passionate about the company for whatever reason. If they're sitting at home, they may not be as motivated to automatically work. But only those companies where the people felt, no, this is my company. I am going to work, whether I live in a small house with 5 people now working together because we don't have a big house or whatever. Whether I sit in the mountains, I will work, I will with focus because this is my company. So 5 points that can help you create a business of value in the age of valuations. Your why, the problem you're trying to solve, the business fundamentals, to ensure that there is positive collateral impact in the environment around you, or at least no negative impact. And fifth, can you build a culture and therefore attract a team that never wants to leave? To conclude, my friends, I think there are about 197 of us, assuming about 190 are students today. Yes, please, by all means, dream. By all means, think of doing big, becoming big. But don't just live in that dream. Don't just live for that outcome. Focus on the journey. Because when you focus on the journey, the outcome will actually not matter. Because again, I have met entrepreneurs who are very successful, but they don't care about the success. They always talk about how they got there. Because trust me, I started when I was very young. I made a lot of money. I lost a lot of money and I'm rebuilding myself. And I realized that the point where I had a lot of money was less pleasurable than the point I'm at which now where I'm rebuilding myself. So for an entrepreneur, the journey should be the focus, the quality of the journey, the quality of the thought behind the journey, the purpose of the journey. Don't just focus on starting up to exit. Thank you.
Sharon, ma'am? Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
Yes, ma'am. Right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Samyak sir. That was a wonderful session. Yes, very, very knowledgeable. Many insights to be taken back as to things to be kept in mind before we go ahead and start our startup. Thank you so much, sir, for adding value to our thought process, especially. Now, shall we get into the question answer session? Students, audience, any questions somebody has? Sir is available, so we can have them answered. Anyone? the session is open for your queries to be answered. We have a couple of things in the chat. So, okay. While we come up with the questions from the audience, the feedback form is posted in the chat box. All the participants, kind request to please fill in the feedback form before you leave the session.
Sharon ma'am,
we
if
have-
students want to raise their hand to ask the question, I can unmute them.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, please.
Yes, ma'am. Students, participants, if you all want to ask Samyak sir few queries, you may raise your hands. We will have your mic unmuted. Ma'am, there is Abhiram BBA who has raised his hand.
Firstly, good afternoon. My name is Aviram and I'm from BBA first year. So my question to you is, sir, when you had your journey, you have ups and downs, right? So at the hardest point of your life, so what was the thing you learned which helped you to overcome that?
Sorry, I was on mute. There was a once, somebody had told me that there will be a moment in your life when you will meet yourself. And I didn't understand what that means at that time. But in the hardest point of my life, I met myself. Because today we live in a time where we form opinions about ourselves based on what others say, based on what we want others to think, and so many other distortions. But the hardest moment, it is your hardest and your happiest time that makes you meet yourself. And when you meet yourself, you will see that there is this innate sense of calm and faith in oneself. It's there, it's embedded in us. So one philosopher told me that when a baby, which is still in the mother's womb, is trying to exit, it thinks it's going to die, right? Because there's a lot of struggle involved. But it goes to that innate sense of faith that no, I can do this, I can exit. That's what my learning from the hardest time was. Having faith, finding faith in myself. Because at the end of the day, hard truth, Abhiram, your parents, your friends, your girlfriend, friends, whatever, they're all not you. And as an entrepreneur, it's a very important thing because there'll be times when your team is opposing you, when your investors are questioning you, when customers are not happy, especially in your starting struggle phase. And then you meet yourself and you have faith in yourself that no, I can do this. That was my greatest realization in my hardest period.
Oh, yes, thank you. So I have some couple of questions. So what was the best advice of your life? Let me know what was the best advice ever you received? And what is the worst one?
The best advice I received was never listen to advice. Because
Okay.
everyone's advice is centered from their perspective and what they feel. So the best advice was don't listen to advice, take in feedback. Of course, you have to listen to feedback, but you still do yours. And you take the bet, whether it works, it works, it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But you do what you feel. And the
What
worst
was the
advice,
worst one?
the worst advice was, so this is a more technical thing, but pre-COVID, we had raised a round of funding. And one of my senior employees said that, we must spend more money, we must hire more talent. Why is one person doing two persons' job? And I'm a Gujarati, and there is something about Gujaratis and Sindhis and being tight with money. So I've always been tight-fisted in spending. And I'm so glad that I was tight-fisted because COVID happened and we didn't have revenue for 12 months. But because I'd saved cash reserves, I could still pay salary every month. No one got fired and we got back on track. So the worst advice was spend money because that's what young entrepreneurs do. Somebody else?
Yeah.
I will just be able to take two more questions, ma'am, because I shared at 2:30, which I moved to 3, but I can't.
Oh, no issue, sir. Yes, sir. Wonderful answers, sir. Actually, your answers have really amazed me personally. Beautiful.
But I can take 2 more questions, no problem.
Yes. Bhuvan? Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, firstly, I would want to say that this session was really insightful and it actually inspired me a lot. My question is that is it really necessary to be different as an entrepreneur? Because let's say I want to solve a problem and I go on and find out that someone else is already doing it.
Hmm.
So that becomes like a demotivating factor sometimes. So how do we overcome that?
No, why if somebody else is doing it, there should never be a demoting factor. There are 2 answers to this, right? So just because there is one college doesn't mean another college doesn't open, right? So there is in India one very mathematical reality is that there is a market for everyone. We are not a winner takes all market. We are about who can earn how much of the market share, but no one person will own the greatest of the 100% market share. India can never be that economy. India is never that economy. So no matter what business that you want to start, any sector, there will be demand, enough demand, even if there are 500 players. The question to ask is, okay, do you have a way to be better than competition? Do you have a way to be more, maybe cheaper than competition? Those things, yes, you can figure. But just because there is somebody else in the space you're in, cannot and should not be a demotivating factor. Sorry to say, but that's a weak emotion.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Nice. Good. The last question, sir. We have Swati raising her hand.
Hi, Swati.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. This is Swati.
Yeah.
Sir, what were your thoughts when you thought of starting a startup? Like you have a lot of emotions and a lot of thoughts, a lot of stress that whether this is going to work or not. So how you dealt with that emotions or thoughts?
To be frank, Swati, that emotion that what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? I mean, I have that thought about getting married because my mom wants me to get married, but like I'm wondering what if it doesn't work? What if it's not the right partner? But in starting a business, I would not go with that thought because we don't know, right? I took the marriage example also because we don't know how it'll end up being. A friendship, we start a friendship, we don't know how it'll end up being. So no, that can't be your emotion of, okay, what if it doesn't work? The question has to be, how do I make it work? What do I do to make it work? So just to another point based on Swati's question is, there are 2 things that I learned in my life. One, it is the story we tell ourselves. Everything is a story that we tell ourselves. So you can rewrite any instant, any episode in your life, even someone's death, you can rewrite it as a good thing in your mind. It's based on the story we tell ourselves. So you have to be mindful of the story you're telling yourself about the situation. And second, the question we're asking ourselves, the questions we ask, or how we frame problems changes everything. So rather than saying, what if it fails? How do I make it succeed? It will change it. It will change how you look at the situation. It's easier said than done. So the last thing that I would say is that, and this is hard, I've gone through a journey. No one talk or one person coming and talking to you can change this in you, and don't be in that fool's paradise. There's certain degree of detachment that we need, and I think I've arrived there. I think I have, I'm not sure, where you have to detach. Like you can't be too attached to outcomes, to emotions, to failures, to successes. Even there has to be a certain level of detachment. uh, Only then you'll be able to think like this. If you're too attached, if you're too involved, if you associate your fate to the outcome of something which is external, that's a recipe for a disaster.
Right. Thank you so much, sir, for your patience in answering the questions that were raised.
I put my name in the chat. You can use this name and add me on LinkedIn. So whoever has more questions, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So you can just send me that request. Just type my name on LinkedIn, you'll get it, and anyone can stay connected with me.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah, participants, you may stay connected for more queries, for your more concerns. You may talk to Samyak, sir. Connect on with him on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time, for your valuable suggestions. Yes, a lot many takeaways for us as individuals through this session and future entrepreneurs too.
We'll just have a one group photograph, Samyak sir.
Sure.
So I'll just request everyone to please, whoever can on the video could please on the video, the members, the students as well.
Please send it to me as well, the photograph.
Yes, yes, for sure. We can on the video. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, taken.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Samyak sir. I would like to personally
you.
thank you for actually going ahead and giving our students an opportunity to hear you actually, and we would like to be in touch with you in the future as well, sir. Thank you so much.
My colleague is in touch with you, ma'am.
Right. Thank you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shwini ma'am. Thank you so much, sir. May I now hand over this time to Mrs. Archana, member IIC, for proposing the vote of thanks. While Archana ma'am takes over, request to the participants, please fill in the feedback form that is being posted in the chat box. Archana ma'am?
Archana ma'am, are you there? She was there. Archana ma'am? She
was there a little while ago.
I think so. She got disconnected.
Probably got
Ashwini ma'am, you can continue.
disconnected.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Archana ma'am, I made you the co-host. You can continue. I think so, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ma'am. I was unable to unmute. Thank you, ma'am. A very good afternoon to the principal, Professor Y. Ashok, BVC, Mrs. B. Naremati, ma'am, the vice principal, BVC, and President, BIIC, members, IIC, heads of the departments, faculty members, and the students. Indeed, it's a great honor to propose vote of thanks in making this national level webinar on creating the value in the age of valuations, organized by Bhavan's Institution Innovation Council and Entrepreneur Development Cell, such a resounding success. I, Mrs. G. Archana, the lecturer, Department of Management Studies, member IIC, feel privileged to propose vote of thanks. I sincerely express my gratitude to our beloved principal, BVC Professor Y. Ashok, for his guidance and constant motivation for conducting this webinar and making it a grand success. I would like to express my sincere thanks to Mrs. B. Naremati, the Vice Principal and President IIC, for her moral support and guidance. I take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to Mr. Samyak Chakravarti, the founder and the Managing Director, Billion Skills Lab, the speaker of today's webinar, for accepting our request and enlightening us with his inspirational thoughts. Sir, I do respect the advice what you got, sir. Like you don't accept the advices. That is very, very much, I was inspired with that word. Thank you so much once again, sir. And last but not the least, I thank each and every participant for their presence, and thank you one and all for giving this opportunity. Thank you one and all. Ashwini ma'am?
Yeah, thank you, Archana ma'am. Thank you so much. So Sharon ma'am, we would like to go ahead and I'll post the link once again in the window. Participants, please tell them to go ahead and do it so that we can also end the session after completing.
Yes, ma'am. Dear participants, please ensure you all fill in the feedback form before you all leave. Please do not leave the session without filling in the feedback form.
The certificates will be issued based on the feedback form itself. So I request all the participants to please fill in the feedback form. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, all the participants, for attending the session and making it a grand success. Thank you, all the members of IAC, Thirmal Sir, Kavita Ma'am, Archana Ma'am, and Sharon Ma'am, for actually taking this session way forward and making it a grand success. Thank you all so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you for the
much.
opportunity, Ashwini
Thank you,
ma'am.
Ashwini.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Sharon ma'am. Ma'am, we'll leave after in next 5 minutes
Okay, ma'am.
after the finish. Thank you.